Hey everybody, welcome to the last episode of KlingsporFIT. Don't get excited, it's really the last one for 2021. And first off this evening, we have Tammy Guest to tell us our COVID update. Tammy?
Thank you, Lorie. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. We'll start right into our COVID numbers and discuss this a little bit, but for Catawba County, current 7-day new cases that were reported were 454. The total cases in Catawba County is 26,749, and currently in the hospital are 26 people as of this week, and the vaccination rate is 51%. Now we'll go to the North Carolina numbers. As of today, it was updated 11:45 today. There's 1,932 newly reported cases. Currently in the hospital is 1,575 and 69% vaccination rate. So that has increased some since our last meeting. The next slide is showing the U.S. and the trend. As of 12/13, you can see that the trend has ticked up a little bit. And there's 201,930 new cases. So it is trending up. And of course, the Delta variant is still there, but we're also talking about the Omicron that is affecting this trend as well. Our next slide is the transmission of our state, of the United States. And as you can see that there is one state in the low transmission rate. We've kind of backed off a little bit. There's 5 states in substantial, 1 in moderate, and then of course the rest of the U.S. is still in high transmission. And there again, they're talking about this there are still Delta variant that is very strong out there, but the Omicron is hitting us as well. And then the next slide is talking about the Omicron. COVID cases rise in the U.S. as Omicron now is in over half of all states. According to the CNN News, the coronavirus infection is increasing in nearly every state, and right now, currently, it has been identified in 29 states. And as you can see from the map that's on there, the light green has identified the Omicron in their state, and the dark green has not. So we can see that it has hit the United States and that it is spreading. The next slide talks a little bit about the variant concerns. The Omicron, while it may spread as easily as the Delta variant, they're saying that the variant is unclear at this time to the severity, but they are saying that people that are vaccinated, even with the booster, are having less effects, less illness, and of course, minimal hospitalizations and death, but they are testing positive for this Omicron. The Delta variant is still rampant out there, and they say it is a little bit more harsh than the Omicron. But there again, they're saying the vaccines do help lessen the severity of illness. So there again, each individual's choice to the vaccine and what they decide to do, but studies are showing that it is helping with the illness. Next, we have our U.S. vaccination rate. And as of 12/13, there have been 485 million doses given, 201 million are fully vaccinated, and given the U.S. a 60.9% vaccination rate. And then last time when Martine and Ed were here, we talked a little bit about Mexico, so I pulled their chart showing the trend in Mexico. And as you can see, as of yesterday, the trend in there is really going down. I don't know, I did not pull their vaccination rate, but they are trending down in that respect. And as always, we encourage everyone to be safe, social distance, wash your hands, wear your mask, and we appreciate everyone's cooperation with that at work. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. We really appreciate your attention to how COVID affects us here at Klingspor. Next, we have an episode of The Spiel where we talk about dealing with anxiety and depression during the holidays. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Spiel. Here we are in the midst of the holiday season, and many of us are dealing with stress and anxiety. Some of us have that on a normal schedule, and the holidays just seem to intensify it. I'm Lorie Street, and this is Jennifer Eichard. Of course, we were chosen to deal with this topic because we are the most fun-loving and happy-go-lucky people here at the company, right?
Absolutely.
We put on a good front. That's
makes
really
sense.
just what's happening.
Exactly.
So we're happy to be here with you. One of the things that I think creates issues during the holiday season is dealing with the unexpected. Mm-hmm. And a part of the unexpected is actually us doing this program today.
Yeah, I would agree.
We originally had planned for the counseling group, KlingsporFIT's company counseling service that we refer folks to do this topic because they are professionals, and as always, we want you to refer to your own doctor or to a mental health professional when you need to when dealing with depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. So there were two occurrences that happened that were not expected that put us in this position. Mm-hmm. One was one of the staff members at the counseling group had to have open heart surgery or heart bypass surgery. And then our own Denise Black, her father-in-law passed away unexpectedly. So this very show is an example of how dealing with the unexpected can create stress and anxiety.
Yes. And at just any given moment, you just never know.
Exactly. So what happens during the holiday season that makes anxiety and depression more keen? And we have our regular demands, like what are some regular demands that we better keep up with or we're going to be in trouble at the hacienda?
I know, right? Usually like getting the tree up and getting your house decorated and the hustle and bustle of that, finding time, to get that done, and also going shopping for all the gifts and finding out what people want, and even just being able to find the products because, sometimes the supply and demand on certain items that you may want to buy aren't available, and people get upset when they can't buy their child or their spouse or significant other that one special toy or something that they want, and things like that. So I think we do kind of help create those stresses when we do those kind of things, but it's usually just nature for us to do that as well. So
well, we want to please our friends and loved ones, and we have, a certain gift in mind, and when that's not available, and then on their part, maybe especially children have a certain gift in mind, and when they don't wind up with that, then they may have a little sadness and things. So one thing that we have to do is, just because the holiday season is here, that doesn't mean that the laundry or the dishes get handled by themselves and fixing food and everything.
Correct.
I know when you and I were talking yesterday about, in preparation for today's show, it was like, none of us really like to do those chores anyway. And so now when we're doing those and having additional stresses on top of it, it's a struggle sometimes.
It is. Like you say, just with the laundry or having to wash extra dishes because you may be cooking more for family meals, or you may be doing goodies. A lot of people, like to bake and fix different candies and cookies and stuff like that. So that always adds to extra time for having to wash dishes and things like that. I know I was having a lot of stress on Sunday. I decided I was going to make sausage balls, and I was making some homemade chicken salad, and of course I still needed to fix dinner, but I was doing all these things at my home, plus I was washing laundry that needed to be done. Well, the well at our house that feeds like several neighborhoods decided to go out. And we found out that two pump, not just the one main pump, but the backup pump went out. So here I was on Monday or Sunday afternoon into Monday, till probably about 8 o'clock Monday night. I had dishes from both sinks all the way over to my stovetop.
Wow.
And that were dirty, and I couldn't do anything about it. It just was, you kind of think it's going to clear up and they're going to fix that water. They've been down there for 24 hours, well, that didn't happen. So I was trying not to have that kind of stress, and the fact of, what we had to do as far as showers and things like that were unconventional, to say the least, because there were not even a drop of water in our house.
And sometimes things happen that are out of your control like that.
Exactly.
And you just have to deal with it and try not to get, and I mean, that would make me very anxious, but just try not to be so anxious
but there
about
just
it.
was not anything I could do to change that. So
Right.
I had to
Calm.
practice stress management for sure.
I think it's really important that we acknowledge our feelings. Like when you were experiencing that with your water, I'm sure you were probably telling your husband and your son about, this is driving me crazy. But in a more calm way, I think it's important that we share our feelings and acknowledge our feelings. Everything from loss of a loved one from previous years, or something that's more recent, or maybe someone is feeling lonely because they're in the middle of a divorce. And this is my loneliness that I experienced this past weekend when I was decorating the tree is really just from an empty nest syndrome, because my kids are now grown and have families of their own. And back in the day when we got the Christmas decorations out and everybody was participating and helping, and it's, you feel good, and it's nice and warm, and you've got a little fire going in the fireplace and everything seems right, but it's just not how it used to be. And sometimes I think dealing with how adjusting to how things are currently versus what's happened in the past is a little bit of a struggle, and just share that with someone. My husband came in while I was decorating the tree, and I think he noticed that maybe my face was a little red because I had been crying, and he's like, this is supposed to be a fun time. What is wrong with you? And, I was just telling him, the kids are gone and it's just me in here decorating this tree, and it's a little lonely. So just...
because you start reminiscing about how things were or how things used to be. And you just my biggest thing that I always tell myself is you have to find a new normal sometimes.
Exactly. That's
what
good
works,
advice.
just what works for you in the moment. May not be every year or every season, but just what is going to help you for today, or for what you needed to do to get through that. Whether it would be play some music and cry every time you put an ornament on the tree, or whether you're going to play some music and sing and get out of the funk while you're, putting ornaments on the tree. I think both of them are okay.
Yeah.
For you to experience, as long as, you're doing what helps you to feel better. You have to kind of recognize that if you start to get into a funk and it gets a little bit too far, just acknowledge it and say, you know what, I'm going to put music on and I'm going to start singing and at the top of my lungs because nobody is here. And you can just do your own thing. And, it's kind of like being in the car. I sing magnificently when I'm in the car by myself. But I'm at the top of my lungs and my radio's up, and, I'm really not a good singer, but to me, I'm killing it. So
we may have to put that to the test and just see about that one day.
Turn some music on and we'll see what happens.
One thing that we can do in those scenarios is, if you need a break from, if you've turned the music on and you're still a little down in the dumps, reach out to someone that maybe there's some things going on in your community, and just keep yourself up to date on some social events, and just, get out of the house and place yourself around other people. And I think that sometimes just being around others is a big help, or call someone on the phone,
Yeah, that's what I
or
was gonna say. Call somebody and just ask them how they're doing. Send a text or something and ask somebody how they're doing or something like that. Because sometimes they may be going through the same thing, so you can kind of help each other.
exactly.
Just kind of pull yourselves out of it in
Yeah.
that way. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of parades going on and things like that, and anybody could benefit from a good parade, I think.
Yeah.
Because they're always fun, even to watch them on TV or however.
Yeah.
Parades are
Sometimes,
good.
yeah, sometimes just watching little kids and how much they enjoy themselves.
Right.
And this is a little bit off topic, but I was hearing someone say a few days ago about how annoyed they get when they go out shopping, that the cashier is not as proficient as he or she should be, and you're around people that you're not comfortable being around, and it's just annoying. And maybe someone snaps off at you with a comment or whatever, but you never know what that person might be going through. So if you can, take a extra helping of patience with you when you are out shopping, especially during this time of year, I think that would, benefit us individually, personally, and the people that we're around.
Right.
Because we don't know what that other person is experiencing.
Yeah. We need to give everybody some grace.
Exactly.
Goes a long way.
Oh, here's a good one for me. Be realistic. Sometimes, and I'm guilty of this just during regular times of the year, I get this idea in my head about how things should go down, say, this coming Saturday. And, nobody's committed to this idea I have in my head as to how things are supposed to happen. It's just a bit of an assumption on my part. Maybe so-and-so's going to come over and do this or that, or I'm going to go shopping with someone. And I have to check myself about not, maybe I'm expecting my son and his wife and their little girl to come over on Christmas Day, but I haven't taken into consideration what my daughter-in-law's family has in store for them. So we have to be realistic with what's going on with all of our blended families and everything, and not let internal expectations make us sad and have anxiety when nobody else might have even known that.
Right. Yeah, you either have to express what your expectation is and see if anybody's on board with it. And,
Exactly.
And wanting to do whatever it's in your mind to do it, or you have to just lower your expectations if you're not willing to discuss them with anyone. Just
Right.
kind of have, like you say, have an open mind, and just what will be will be. They're going to come over and things will just end up how they do. You just kind of free will it,
Yes.
maybe.
Absolutely.
Just so that if you don't set yourself up with how you think things should be or how it looks, even for yourself when you're cooking or the decorations or cleaning the house or whatever, sometimes it's that stuff doesn't even matter.
It doesn't.
Like you might have a friend that comes over and they don't even care what your home looks like. You're making everything so pristine and nobody even mentions it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I've spent 3 hours on this tree and nobody said a word. So I mean, a lot of people, it's just not about that for them. Or
Right.
We put higher expectations on ourselves and how things should be when it's not really the case all the time. So
Exactly.
that would help with reducing stress for sure.
And families change, and so we need to not be stuck in a tradition of how things used to be, because new family changes, new traditions. Just
Right.
make new goals and fun things to do with the family as it exists today.
Right.
Oh, here's a good one. Set aside differences. Wait a minute, you mean individuals and families have differences?
I have to get along with everyone.
Yeah. So let's go to a holiday dinner and let's talk about politics and religion.
I know,
and,
right? It's like,
yeah. So don't do that.
Nope.
Just accept your family members as they are. put your differences aside and, you know, make the conversation about something else.
Right. Besides anything that's going to trigger what you know would trigger a confrontation or something.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
be
And
happy.
and our family members don't necessarily live up to our expectations, but probably more importantly is we may not live up to theirs.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yep.
Now we're going to start talking about that green stuff, and it's not a tree.
No.
So it's really important to set a budget
Yes.
and to stick with it. And sometimes our financial reality may not be, we may not be able to give gifts that we want to because of our financial reality, but that is our reality and we need to live in it.
Right.
And just set a budget. And sometimes there's places where you can go and make things like the DIY places where you can do crafts and things on your own or make something for someone. I know that a lot of us, I say that as if I'm one of us, but you know, there are a lot of talented people here at the company. So like knitting or crocheting or Hey everybody, if you've stuck around with us, we appreciate your patience. We're not really sure what happened. The same thing happened today that happened several weeks back where the computer just basically shut itself off and started a restarting process. So speaking of anxiety, Madeline and I have experienced that here on the show tonight. So we think we're back up and we're going to continue playing the video that you were watching from the spiel. Thank you. My head as to how things are supposed to happen. It's just a bit of an assumption on my part. You know, maybe so-and-so is going to come over and do this or that, or I'm going to go shopping with someone. And I have to check myself about not, you know, maybe I'm expecting my son and his wife and their little girl to come over on Christmas Day, but I haven't taken into consideration what my daughter-in-law's family has in store for them. So we have to be realistic with what's going on with all of our blended families and everything, and not let internal expectations make us sad and have anxiety when nobody else might have even known that.
Right. Yeah, you either have to express what your expectation is and see if anybody's on board with it. And,
Exactly.
And wanting to do whatever it's in your mind to do it, or you have to just lower your expectations if you're not willing to discuss them with anyone. You know, just
Right.
kind of have, like you say, have an open mind and just what will be, will be. You know, they're going to come over and things will just end up how they do. You know, you just kind of free will it, kind
Yes.
of, maybe.
Absolutely.
Just so that if you don't set yourself up with how you think things should be or how it looks, even for yourself when you're cooking or the decorations or cleaning the house or whatever, sometimes it's that stuff doesn't even matter.
It doesn't.
You know, like you might have a friend that comes over and they don't even care what your home looks like. You're making everything so pristine and nobody even mentions it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I've spent 3 hours on this tree and nobody said a word. So, I mean, you know, a lot of people, it's just not about that for them. Or
Right.
we put higher expectations on ourselves and how things should be when it's not really the case all the time. So
Exactly.
that would help with reducing stress for sure.
And families change, and so we need to not be stuck in a tradition of how things used to be, because new family changes, new traditions. Just
Right.
make new goals and fun things to do with the family as it exists today.
Right.
Oh, here's a good one. Set aside differences. Wait a minute, you mean individuals and families have differences?
I have to get along with everyone.
Yeah. So let's go to a holiday dinner and let's talk about politics and religion.
I know,
and,
right? It's like,
yeah. So don't do that.
nope.
Just accept your family members as they are. Put your differences aside, and make the conversation about something else.
Right. Besides anything that's going to trigger what would trigger a confrontation or something.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
be
And
happy.
and our family members don't necessarily live up to our expectations, but probably more importantly is we may not live up to theirs.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yep.
Now we're going to start talking about that green stuff, and it's not a tree.
No.
So it's really important to set a budget.
Yes.
And to stick with it. And sometimes our financial reality may not be, we may not be able to give gifts that we want to because of our financial reality, but that is our reality and we need to live in it.
Right.
And just set a budget. And sometimes there's places where you can go and make things like the DIY places where you can do crafts and things on your own or make something for someone. I know that a lot of us, I say that as if I'm one of us, but there are a lot of talented people here at the company. So like knitting or crocheting or just different things that, we don't have to buy a really expensive gift for the person we're giving it to be happy.
True. Right. I agree. And we do need to stick to a budget because, or even if you want to call it that, it's just sticking to a budget, but sometimes it's just about being together.
It is.
It's not always about the gifts that you purchase or the money that you spend. It's about just being together with family, because as you get older, your grandparents start to pass away. You have aunts and uncles. You have your own parents that can pass away, and things they do start to look different and things like that. So you do learn as you get older, and even as your children get older, that it's not always about what the gift is that you're giving. It's about the time spent and how you spend it with people. So
Right. Absolutely.
whether it's family or friends.
So a big thing that is important in everyday life is planning. And sometimes I fly by the seat of my pants. My husband says, you need to make a list. And now I don't want to just because he said I need to. But I need to do more planning and be proactive instead of reactive. So set aside days for shopping and for cooking. And that's when I really don't have to worry about, nobody really asks me to do any baking or any cooking, so they know me. There's a reason they don't ask
that's
me.
good.
So anyway, so that's one bullet I've dodged. But anyway, even when connecting with friends and family, like my example about the daughter-in-law's family and what they're going to be doing, planning ahead. And I do have to say that it's a little bit of, as our adult children move away from home and we've been the folks who did the planning for them, first of all, it's hard to throw them the reins and let them do their planning. And then sometimes they might not be the best planners either. So,
Right.
when you ask, hey, what are you and your wife's family doing for the holidays? Well, we don't know yet. So everybody just needs to be on the planning train.
Right.
And taking care of getting those dates down so that that's not a point of anxiety.
Yeah. And my favorite friend is a list. So
Oh, you and my husband.
check it off.
Yeah. Hey, and I do acknowledge that when I use the list,
I feel better about
I'm
it.
better.
So it does help me.
Yeah, it is.
I know better. If I start getting wayward or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I didn't plan.
Yeah,
Or I didn't do a list or something. So
that's
I
right.
usually blame myself when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm like, if you want to make it through, do a list.
you're correct. I can't really argue that. One thing that we need to teach ourselves to do, and this takes practice, is to be able to say no.
No.
You may be asked to participate in like a holiday play or a choral event or whatever, and that's additional practicing and preparation, and and it could be just if somebody asked me to bring a baked item to a function. There again, I might say yes, but I probably should say no. Just be able to say no. It's okay if you say no.
It is.
And
Yep.
people understand, and they'll find. You don't want to put something back on someone when they've asked you to help them. You don't want to make more anxiety for them, but just know where your boundaries are and be willing to say no if you need to.
Right. You can say no. You don't even have to explain yourself why you said no. If you don't want to, it's
That's
just
right.
a no. If it's going to interrupt your peace of mind or cause you more anxiety or stress because you are already extended out
Yes.
thinly in your everyday life between work and home and your family and different aspects of that, what that means for different people. No is good. Sometimes it is good. Even if you don't feel like it at the time, once you have said no and you don't have to worry about that part anymore,
Right.
It's a sense of relief sometimes
Yes.
that you didn't. Because sometimes I get caught up with things sounding good in the moment.
Yes.
You'll be like, oh, let's go do this, Saturday. I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do. And then Saturday comes and I'm like, oh, God,
Wish I hadn't
Why?
said yes to that.
why did I say yes?
Well, and it's going to be fun, it is.
Right.
But it's just a segment of time that comes out of your day and your
Right.
weekend, and it's tough.
True. It could end up being a really good thing that I did say yes. You're right. But then I guess it just depends on how that works out. Sometimes it is a good thing to say yes if you're in a funk or if you are feeling depressed or something like that, or you're feeling lonely about the season and you don't really have a whole lot to do, because we are talking about how busy we are,
Yeah.
but there are people who don't have anything right now. They are by themselves. They're here from another country, or they don't have a lot of family left, or they're just don't have, their group of friends is not very large and they're all going to be gone. I know one year we were gone, like for Thanksgiving, and that meant that there was no Thanksgiving because the bulk of us were gone during that time frame. So we were out having a blast, with what our festivities were for Thanksgiving, but the rest of the people were like, well, I don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
And speaking of that too, I just want to share one of the best Thanksgivings that I ever even had was my husband and myself. We didn't have Isaac yet. One of my very best friends did like a Friendsgiving, and it really was she realized with her family and with her neighbors and with another set of friends, there were 6 or 7 families there that only had parts of their family, and it was wonderful. We were all there together. We all knew each other mostly. Some of them that we didn't know, we got to know them, like maybe it was somebody's parents had come with them or something like that, or their grandparents, and it was just a lot of fun because it was truly, you were on your own for Thanksgiving, but then you were with 20 other people because she did the work and pulled everybody together.
That's amazing.
We all brought dishes, and it was just a fantastic time. And
Wow.
that was just another way to spend a holiday that turned out to be what we thought was going to be sad and lonely, turned out to be a really good time. So sometimes
That's great.
sometimes you have to say yes in order to
Yeah.
have a good time or get out of the dumps or something, but it's okay to say no.
And on the opposite side of that spectrum is if we've asked someone to do something and they say
And
no,
they say no to us.
we need to accept the no,
Right.
you know, because they have reasons for doing that. They're not trying to be ugly or hurt our feelings or anything, but just be willing to accept the no.
Yes, true.
Stick to healthy habits. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that during the holidays. But we can. I act like
can.
that's not realistic. But I
can.
mean, you know, speaking of baking and everybody cooking and bringing their famous dishes to holiday dinners and festivities, I think we can partake in that at some level, but just keep it in check. Just, you know, you can feel when you're overindulging and try to stick to your guns when it comes to the routines that you set for yourself, because sometimes just feeling bad in your belly is because you ate some foods that you're not accustomed to eating, or you ate a quantity that
you're not used to.
yeah. So, and it's important not to overindulge in alcohol or tobacco, just things that are not good for us in the first place, but just keep those things in check.
Yeah.
And remember to exercise. You know, don't have that holiday meal and then go sit. We talked about this back at on a Thanksgiving show.
Yeah.
You know, take a walk or get outside and just breathe a little. You know, Dr. George Place has taught us, and some of our in-house exercise instructors like Elizabeth Powell have talked about just the benefits of deep breathing. You know, just maybe even if it's chilly, just go outside and spend about 15 minutes and just do some deep breathing. And maybe you don't feel comfortable taking a walk, it's bad weather or whatever, but you know, just take a moment to relax and breathe a little. Sometimes you can just, like you said earlier, just listen to music and just give yourself a little time to be with just yourself. Even if there's a lot of people maybe in the living room, or just, you know, go out on the deck or the patio and just take a breather to, you know, maybe read a book or just set yourself aside to reboot.
Right.
And, you know, you can combine that with a walk, like I said a moment ago, or just a little moment of silence and just some me time. And that can even be taking a break from that decorating of the Christmas tree when you're already by yourself, but just separate yourself from the task at hand to just take a moment.
Right. Just sit back and look at what you've done so far. Maybe on the tree or something, if that's what brings you joy, or like you say, reading a book. I mean, sometimes that's very relaxing for people and they just need that moment to kind of step away.
Yeah.
Whatever looks good for you, to take a moment, to take a break. How do you take a break?
Right.
That's what you need to do, and do it more often, maybe during this time, you know, to take that time for yourself. You should do it every day, really, but sometimes we do get busy. We don't do that. But even if it means getting up 15 minutes earlier in the morning, or something like that, or just taking that pause, I think just to regroup, get your thoughts together, make sure that, like if you do have the list, you can make sure you check your list.
I was just thinking, is she going to say the list thing again? So
Because you kind of go back through, because it does feel good when you mark things off of the list, things as well. I mean, there's gratitude and good things about when you have lists and things like that you can just say, okay, I've completed this task, I've done this, especially when it's things you know you have to get done. When you kind of see the completion of it, I think that's what helps people.
Yeah.
Or it does me.
yeah,
Because I like to see the beginning and end results or something. You don't.
right.
Everybody wants to see results from your efforts, no matter what that is. sometimes we are result seeking people,
Yes.
or it's just in our nature, I think, to see results. So if you read a book, then that's what you do. If it's listening to music, if turning it up or putting your earpods in, something like that, whatever just will take you away for a moment, if that's what it needs, what needs to happen, I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Cup of coffee, whatever your break is.
Right. So one very important thing is, if you feel like these suggestions that we've provided, and just to recap, these suggestions are from the Mayo Clinic, and you can check them out at mayoclinic.org. We are just sharing this information to you and hoping that you find it beneficial. But if you're still struggling and you feel like you just can't get past the anxiety or the depression, and you just can't put your thoughts outside whatever's bringing you down, please seek professional help. You can talk to your primary care physician. They can help you with this. You can go to the counseling group. Each employee here at Klingspor gets X number of visits, 3 visits for free. And then, of course, you can go and apply that to your insurance. So anyway, they're there for you. If you have another organization that you feel more comfortable with, or just go to someone and make sure that you get your feelings addressed, because you don't have to live with the feelings of, you have to live with the reality of what's causing that anxiety, I guess you would say, but you can work with someone who is a professional to help you get through it.
Help you guide to come through on the other side of it, and how to deal with the stress or whatever it is, because stress and anxiety and depression, all of that looks different for different people. It's different things that have caused that, different things in their life, whether it be something from a long time ago, whether it was they've never been stressed, to having a death in the family that was unexpected or something like that. Different life happenings causes people to respond differently, and everybody's different. So it's like, just don't feel weak because you have to seek professional help or anything like that. That's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, because
It really is, yes.
you are noticing that you need that, that it's come to that point. So
You're taking a step in the right
you're
direction.
taking a step in what should be the right direction, to seek help. And sometimes, that could even be your pastor. It could be a licensed professional. It could be your friend. Sometimes you just need to get something off your chest, maybe with someone who has dealt with that themselves.
Yes.
Maybe you could just seek guidance on, I don't know how to get through this. What did you do when it happened to you? You'd be surprised, because a lot of, like you say, not everybody tells what's going on with them deep down.
Right.
So you'd be surprised the similarities of something from somebody else that you may not even realize could have went through the same thing or is going through the exact same thing.
Sometimes I think that we ask, when bad things happen to us, I do at least, ask myself, why me? Why did that happen to me? And not that I want it to happen to someone else, but why did that have to happen? And one thought that I've had over the years is, this thing happened so you can learn to deal with it and share how you dealt with it with someone else who is going through the same thing. So I think that sometimes that helping other people is the answer to the question as to why.
Right.
Well, the point is, don't dread the holidays.
Right.
The holidays are a very special time for family and friends, and we want everyone to have a great time and enjoy themselves. And if you are struggling a little bit, please use some of these mechanisms that we've shared with you, and we wish you a happy and healthy holiday season.
That's right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Next, we have one of our favorite segments, Cooking with Pajah. She's going to make Christmas tree pizza and spicy fruit salad. It's going to be delicious.
Welcome back to Cooking with Pajah. So today we're going to do little Christmas tree pizzas for the holidays. And we're also going to do a spicy fruit salad. So I'm excited about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add some flour to the surface that you'll be using for your pizza dough. Just like that. And then we're also going to add the flour to the little dough roller. I don't know what this is actually called. What is this called? A rolling pan. We're gonna add flour to this rolling pan as well. Okay. And we're gonna use this dough sheet from Pillsbury. Okay. Great. So once you have your dough rolled out, you're gonna get a little Christmas tree cutter, and we're gonna start cutting with this cutter. We're gonna go ahead and spray the pan. We're gonna spray the pan, and then we're gonna put our little Christmas trees that we've cut out. So I'm just gonna spray a little bit. And I used the extra virgin olive oil nonstick spray. Okay, so once you have your little cut out cookie doughs on your baking tray, we're gonna add some, well, before we add the pizza sauce, we're gonna chop up some red bell peppers and green bell peppers. We're gonna dice them up so we can put them on the pizza. Okay, some diced red pepper here, red bell peppers, and then we're gonna dice up this green bell pepper. Okay, so once you have your red bell pepper and your green bell pepper diced up and cut, we're gonna go ahead and add the pizza sauce. We're just using this organic pizza sauce from Classico. And just gonna open this up. I'm just gonna use a regular spoon, and we're just going to put some sauce on here. Spread it out, like so. Okay, so once you've added your pasta sauce to your little Christmas trees, you can go in and we're gonna add some red peppers, diced red peppers, and diced green peppers, bell peppers. So. So once you have your diced peppers on there, we're gonna add some cheese, some shredded mozzarella cheese, and this is Viola Life, I believe. It's 100% vegan. So they've got cheese out there. So we're gonna top it off with some cheese. Once we top it off with this cheese, we'll put it in the oven at a 350 degrees temperature or heat. So now that we topped it off with the cheese, I'm gonna put it in the oven at 350 degrees, and it's about 7 to 8 minutes, okay? All right, so I'm gonna put this little timer on for about 7 to 8 minutes, just like that. So we're gonna start with the spicy fruit salad, and for the spicy fruit salad we have blueberries, kiwi, mango, and strawberry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slice up the strawberry just like this. Okay. Oh my gosh, this strawberry smells so good. You know, when you just cut up a strawberry, you know it's gonna be delicious because the way it smells. Okay. So, strawberries are sliced. And we're also going to slice some kiwi. So, I'm just gonna cut this in half. And then we're just going to slice it like so. And I'm just gonna kind of cut it down in the center here. Kiwis are sliced. And then for your mango, it says to get 2 ripe mangoes. And we're going to dice the mangoes. just like that. Mangoes are diced, okay? So once you've got your strawberries, kiwis, and mangoes sliced or diced, whatever your preference is, we're gonna go ahead and mix them all together in a bowl. So we're gonna add the mangoes in here. Strawberries. Kiwi. Yum. I love kiwi. And then blueberries. Okay. So once they're in there, let's go ahead and just kind of mix it up a little bit. Okay. Yum. That looks so good, you guys. Okay. So once the fruits are in the bowl, once you put that mixture in there, we're gonna add 1 small lime juice to it as well. All right, so that's what we're about to do right now. So once we have the lime juice in there, we're also gonna do 1 tablespoon of this amber agave sweetener. So let's go ahead and do that. And at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and mix it up real quick. Stir it in, make sure it's all evenly in there, the lime juice and the agave sweetener. And don't forget, this is a spicy fruit salad. So what we're also going to do is add a quarter teaspoon of chili powder, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. And obviously, if you like more chili, I would just put more chili. Depending on how spicy you like it, I would just do that. So I'm just gonna get a quarter teaspoon of chili powder. Just gonna kind of dash it over here and leave some still left in the measuring teaspoon. And I'm gonna just kind of stir it, and then I would add some more, and then stir it, and then add some more until you're done with the chili powder. And then once you feel like it's evenly stirred enough, you're done. That's all you need to do for this spicy fruit salad. I'm kind of excited because this is what it looks like. So we're just pretty much waiting for the pizza to get done, and then we should be all set. All right, so since the fruit salad's done, my buzzer just went off, so the pizza's done. I'm gonna get rid of this. Toss it to the side here. Oh, that smells good, you guys. Oh, these are so cute. Okay. And there you have it, y'all. We've got your little little Christmas tree pizzas. And then you also have your spicy fruit salad. So if you guys try out this recipe, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know how you like it, and I'm excited. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Pajah. That was awesome. The little pizza trees were delicious, and the salad was too. Thanks a lot. Last but not least, we have Dr. George Place, who completes his series on grocery shopping hacks for health.
Well, hello, everyone. It's George Place again here from the Cooperative Extension Service. And in this 4th video in our grocery hacks series, we're talking about how to connect with food. And, you know, I want to let you know the top resource, and we've spent a lot of effort and some money as well at the Extension office to put together a local food guide. And so this can be your one-stop shop resource for connecting with local farms and all the different local food in our area. So I want to go through some of the sectors in this local food guide, and we'll talk about some other things as well, but to kind of orient you to the big picture of all the different ways that you can connect with your food. So first, and we talked about this in the very first video, farmers markets, right? There's been some questions about, well, how can we know what's in season? And one of the best ways is pop by your farmers market from time to time. And I'll tell you, by the way, you know, this is a great example. Strawberries are on there. And the seasonality of something like strawberries is actually pretty interesting. Most of the time, we would expect something like strawberries to be coming in May and in June. And that's definitely the case for field-grown strawberries, or if you grow strawberries in your own home garden. However, we have some very savvy farmers in our area that capture a different kind of market. They grow strawberries in a high tunnel, which is really just a passive solar type of structure, not a greenhouse, so to speak, but it allows them to harvest strawberries in December, January, February sometimes, depending on the varieties. So farmers are learning different ways to capture markets, and the seasonality of some things are changing. But come by the farmers markets and you'll always get a good idea of what's going on. And by the way, I wanted to mention, we have a winter farmers market. It's the Hickory Winter Farmers Market going on every Saturday. And in fact, if you go on the Hickory website, you can see that the winter farmers market goes on from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's under the sales where the summer market always goes on. So it's on that main square, which is nice. You know, the square is a nice place to visit during Christmas, and it's just a very inviting place to walk around. However, if you're used to going to the regular summer's farmers market, do make note, the winter market doesn't open until 10 a.m., whereas the summer market opens at 8 a.m. And summer market growers know, or buyers know, the really good time to get there is at 8 a.m. So no need to get there at 8 during the winter. You can sleep in just a little bit. But you should also know there's a lot of kind of smaller markets that don't get as much news and media, like, for example, farm stands and stores. So take a look in our local food guide and you'll see there's several different outlets that are essentially farmers markets, but they're going on all the time. And you can stop by and get local produce from them. The other thing I really want to draw your attention to is, if you're a local food supporter, one of the best ways that you can do that is when you dine, go to local restaurants and go to restaurants that are supporting local food. For example, Boca, Cafe Rule, Market on Main, and the really nice coffee house in downtown Hickory, Tasteful Beans, are just a few of our business venues that really make an effort at supporting our local farmers. And don't be shy. If you have a favorite restaurant that's not in this local food guide, ask them, hey, you know, I would really like it if you would maybe buy some of your produce from our farmers. When restaurant owners, and specifically the chefs, are hearing that message, then they realize they need to make it part of their business model. So it's another way that you can support local agriculture. Tell your restaurants to buy food locally. You should also know that there's a really great selection of artisan local food products. For example, lots of different vineyards like Catawba Farms. By the way, I started to put this picture up, and I think I took it out for one reason or another. But if you haven't been to Catawba Farms, that's in Newton, it's a really fun place to go. They have all kinds of different stuff. Right now they have, it's not an ice rink, it's a glice rink. So you can ice skate, except it's not on ice. So check it out. They always have fun things to do. My wife loves to go to yoga classes there. So it's a full agro-tourism type of destination, but they also have some wine products that they're producing. There's also liqueur distilleries, jams and jellies, local teas. I put on here the Shiner's Stash jerky business that's up in Conover, and these folks will process some local meats, and you can buy local jerky and visit their location online. Maybe you can get a nice Christmas gift for somebody that likes beef jerky or deer jerky, some other specialty jerkies. And then now's a great time, and of course the fall in general is a great time to visit farms. You can go on that local food guide and see all the different tourism. For example, Divine Farms in Newton, they always have all kinds of wagon rides and fun things to do. They are doing a Bigfoot sighting tour. So I won't tell you more about it, but it's a pretty fun adventure, especially for kids, right? You can get on a wagon and maybe you're going to see Bigfoot. There is a farm in Lincoln County that has dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs are moving around. In fact, I think in some cases the dinosaurs chase you. So yeah, fun, a different fun experience you can have on our farms. So check that out in the local food guide. I'll tell you in general, that guide has a directory to 31 different farms and all the different products that you can buy from them. You can see their website right on there. And so, again, lots of opportunity to form a relationship with a farm. Many of these farmers are going to be representing at farmers markets, but not all of them. So, you can certainly contact them and say, hey, I want to buy some of these products directly from you. And in most cases, you're going to get a much better deal buying directly from that farmer. Probably you've had an experience, maybe as a kid or maybe more recently, of picking your own on a farm. And so you can check out the U-Pick operations we have in the county, where primarily they're blueberry farms. You can go out and pick blueberries, but there's also some strawberry picking operations as well. If you are a goat cheese connoisseur, we have a Blue Goat Dairy Farm in the area, and they make gourmet cheeses. I'm telling you, these are amazing cheeses. Again, great Christmas gifts if you're wanting to get a little bit original in what you shop for folks. You can't go wrong with some of these cheeses. They're really amazing and very unique. We have several local meat operations, and this one is Rock Barn Beef. And you can see they've got really great prices. So, in fact, I know some people that are really big meat eaters, and they go in with a neighbor or a couple neighbors, and they'll buy a large quantity of beef at a much better price, freeze it, and get great deals. And for the folks that are worried about the Omicron variant and they want to begin hoarding toilet paper, well, you might as well hoard some local food as well, right? You can buy all kinds of meat. I mean, who knows? Maybe grocery stores will be out of food again. And why not buy locally and freeze it? I'm kidding, of course. Don't go panic buy because the extension guy told you to do that. But hey, let's be honest, right? Some people think like that, and there's no problem with it. Prepare, right? Prepare, and why not buy some extra food and freeze it up? And so you can get a great deal on local meat this way. Let me tell you about CSAs. You may have heard about them, you might not. The word, or the acronym, I should say, CSA, stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And what this means is this is for people that really want to connect with a farmer. They say, okay, I'm going to buy what's called a CSA share. And so I put up a couple examples here. For example, you could buy a small CSA share. This is from Tumbling Shoals Farm, and this is our organic vegetable seller at the Hickory Farmers Market. They're amazing, by the way. If you don't know Shiloh and her whole crew, they're great. You can buy a small share from Tumbling Shoals Farm. You pay for the entire season. So for every week, for 22 weeks, you're going to get a different basket of produce. And nowadays you can, it used to be you got whatever the farmer put in there. But you can specify, you can say, I just really don't like this vegetable. We want more of this. And so you're going to get what is in season every week. And you can go on their website and see, they give you many more details about what's involved. They've got lots of different share products, not just for the summer season, but for the winter season as well. And a lot of times this is so popular, there's a wait list. So it's a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, quite frankly, it's a little bit of a culinary adventure, because you're going to get delicious vegetables, but every now and again you might get something that you've never seen before. And Shiloh is so smart about giving a little bit of education to her buyers about how to cook with that produce. And that's one of the things that we do at the Extension Service as well. We have a couple of agents that do a lot of cooking programs with produce that's being sold through our farmers market. So check it out. It's a really great way to get regular vegetables and get them locally. And if you like organic produce, you can't beat the deals that you can get from Tumbling Shoals. The last thing I wanted to talk about was, hey, what better way to connect with your food than growing a little bit? And this is a picture of some of the winter crops that my wife and I grow. We have just a small little homestead on a couple acres, and we like to garden quite a bit. And I get a lot of satisfaction from growing our own food. And I'll tell you, I get a lot of outdoor activity, and I have learned a ton. In fact, it's a lot of ways, our garden is my classroom, so to speak. And if you've ever thought about having chickens, these are kind of pets with benefits these days. People have a really good time, and in most municipalities, you can have chickens. You just can't have roosters. In some places, they don't care if you have roosters. And and by the way, if you don't know this, you don't need a rooster to get eggs. And so, even just 4 or 6 laying hens can give you a really nice egg production. A full producing hen will lay an egg about every 30 hours. So, if you eat a couple dozen eggs, you don't need very many hens at all to get a couple dozen eggs a week. So it's a fun way to get some food back. And if you got kids, really connect them with some of the chores that, quite frankly, a lot of our kids don't see anymore. Another way too, if you don't live on an area that has property, maybe you stay in an apartment, we've got a lot of community gardens around Hickory and in other areas as well. This is just a snapshot of the Civitan community garden. You can rent one of these plots for just $22. And I know people that grow tons of let me back up. Hundreds of pounds is more accurate. I don't think they literally grow a ton. But you can grow hundreds of pounds of produce on a very small plot. And so just $22 a month, and you can have a little gardening experience as well. And I'll tell you the other thing, this is one of my favorite community gardens in all the area. Stop by the Parable Garden. It's right across the street from the salt block at the, the First Presbyterian, it's the First Methodist Church right across the street from the salt block. Forgive me, Parable Garden people, they're like, no, that's not the name of our church. I'm getting church gardens mixed up. And that's a good thing. That means that there's a lot of different gardens at our churches. And I put this slide up here to say, hey, maybe you could start a community garden in your neighborhood, or maybe you would be interested in starting a community garden at your church. And if you don't have to be a master gardener to do that, You can give the extension service a call, and we're happy to help you to do that. Or you probably have experienced gardeners in your community that can help you get going. So there's a lot of resources to connect with your food, and I encourage you to do it. And give us a call if there's anything we can do to help you out at the extension office. The last thing I want to say, we need to get our kids connected to food, because we know that kids aren't eating as well as they could, and there's a lot of information and data and research showing that when kids grow their own food and they have a connection with food, they're more likely to eat it. And so starting a small garden with kids, it's one of the best ways to get them eating healthier and get them outside, get them putting down screens, a little sunshine as well. So, you know, if you have kids, it's a great push for you to want to get connected to food, because really our kids are losing that every generation. So I encourage you to think about it. And like I say, give me a call if there's anything we can do to help you. And you can send messages or questions my way, and I'm always happy to help you out. So thanks again for your attention. I've really enjoyed being a part of these grocery hack videos, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, George. We really appreciate it. Well, that's a wrap. We wish you happy holidays, and we hope you have a wonderful 2022. See you in